Hello, Gemini. Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Art Nouveau. I have to remember how to say it because a few people gave me the pronunciation on the comments, and thank you very much. It's by Matt Myers, who I commonly keep referring to as Mike Myers because apparently I'm stuck in the 90s, obviously. So there's that. It's a 1989 deck, so I don't know if you can still find the deck, but you might be able to find the artist and what the artist is doing. Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman, illustration by Gretchen. There's Gretchen's last name. Also, just so you can find the artist, you can see the correct spelling and stuff like that. No need for me to butcher a name, and you can see how it's spelt and search it down that way if you'd like to. All right. What do we have for Gemini? I'm getting a little excited, but let's get there. Let's get there first, because I'm like I like where this is going. I'm getting a little too excited, especially since I'm not a Gemini. My rising is Gemini, but which I don't know what that. Well, yes I do. Yes I do. Yes I do. Gemini. Okay, I'm excited, so let's get into it here. Acceptance is the first thing coming into this. Now it's almost, when this starts off, there's somebody else kind of doing something weird. Now why would we call it weird? I feel like they're treating you well. This reminds me a little bit of Pisces, a little bit. Somebody's treating you very well, but the miracle card is on the other side. You're getting along with somebody, and you're just kind of like, the way I like to live life, the way they like to live life, it just doesn't match. And I don't really want to have an issue about it. And that's kind of your feeling at the moment, kind of like, I don't want to have an issue about it. I don't think we need to talk it out because they never seem to understand what I'm trying to tell them. We never agree. I try to take it in different directions. They just seem to never advance or move. It's kind of like looking at a tree and wanting the tree down the block. You're kind of like, that tree's not going anywhere. We could try to lift it up and dig it up and try to move it, but there's a good chance it would die, and all the money and expenses it would take to make that happen. I could try to plant a new one, and you have a lot of ideas, but meanwhile the tree is like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. That's kind of how this is. And it's just, at this point you're like, you know what, the tree is the tree is staying there. It is what it is. Between you and this person, there's been problems. There is leftover animosity. No, definitely animosity. Okay. I was trying to find a way around it. Like, does it have to be that? No, it's animosity. Who's it from? If it's not you, it's them. But honestly, I'm feeling like it's like an equal, kind of like both sides, you and them, are you're not the biggest fans of each other. It just is what it is. It's the way you both have very different ways of living life. It's just kind of how it is. But again, you're at the spot where like, there's no need to go on about it. There's no need to worry about it. I know who they are. I know how they are. They should know how I am at this point. They don't seem to. But whatever it is, it is. I'm just not looking to have an issue with it. So it's kind of like, there's no need to talk it out. There's no need to argue it out. That's this card, which is the Five of Swords. Kind of like, why put in all this effort to try to make a conversation that's just going to be aggravating and go nowhere? But the animosity is still there. It's still there between you and this person. Ironically, you're getting along pretty well. I don't know. At this point, you're getting along pretty well. And they seem to be nice to you, very nice to you, and trying to include you in things. They're trying to include you in things and things they want to do. So like, since we're getting along better, maybe we could start developing this relationship. Maybe we could understand each other better by hanging out and doing some of these things. Which you might have some common interests, but it's almost like if you both, I don't know, I'm going to make it a baking thing for whatever reason. Say you both like baking. They like to do things a certain way every time. That's how they do it. That's how it is. They like what they like. You have a lot of like explorative notions. kind of like, well, I've done it this way 50,000 times, but now I could do it this way. And, maybe a different color. Maybe instead of making an egg souffle, I can make it this other type of souffle. Maybe instead of doing that, I could make a quiche. Instead of a quiche, how about blah? And you go through like a 1,000 different versions, kind of like, I want something that's exciting and different. I don't want to do the same thing 50,000 times. Yet they want to make something they know is good and they enjoy. So again, even though you both like baking, you have a totally different take on it. And I'm getting, they're trying to include you. They've got the 10 of cups. Like, we could be great friends. We could get along. We can heal this rift. And you're kind of like, yeah, I guess we could. But it's kind of like you're choking down your own desires. Like, you're thinking to yourself, I guess we could if I just do it your way. Because it's like, that's when the problems happen. You both like things to do things totally different. And that's where the misunderstandings and the animosity seems to start to rear its head. And you realize that, and you're just kind of like, I guess we could do this for a while. You got the bittersweet with the insecurity. Kind of like, you don't feel like you can be yourself with this person. And you're getting along with them a lot better, but it's kind of like, you don't feel like you're yourself. You don't feel like you're yourself at all. And you're kind of choking down your own desires. I think that's the insecurity, honestly. You're just not being yourself. Because you're like, well, I mean, we haven't gotten along for the longest time. Why not? Why not? Now they're giving, when these two cards come up close to each other, let alone right on top of each other, it's making a very, very strong point. You got the Death card with the World card. This ain't gonna last. This ain't gonna last. This is gonna change. These cards are very similar. Depending, like the World is talking about a big change that's gonna go into a whole new way of life. The Death card is kind of like the ending of sort of like, almost like moving, or I would say like there's a connection to your life. It's almost like, the boss you have at your current job, that person leaving and somebody else taking that position, that's a death. The World is saying, the job you had has ended, and now you have to change and go into a whole different type of job. This is like a whole different vocation. That's the difference between the two. But they're saying players are changing and the whole situation as well. So it's almost like if you had somebody that you were taking from job to job with you, going from situation to situation, both the situation and the people are both going to change in a moment. So that's the difference between the two, just in case you're like, it's not the same card. They have different energies about them, but that's the difference. So, all that just to say, this ain't gonna work. Because that's why you're giving it a shot. You're thinking, well, maybe we can get along better. I mean, why not? That's kind of your energy at this point. Like, why not? Why not? Why not give it a shot? And that's also a reason you're kind of choking down your own desires. Kind of like, why put out there what I want to do when it just creates fights? I'll just pacify the situation and get along, and I'll enjoy other parts of my life, but when I'm with this person, I'll just deal with it because it's not worth arguing over. It doesn't get me anywhere anyway. Big things are changing. Perseverance is happening in the environment. There's a big change here. Whoever this person was, there's a dramatic change here, and I'm trying to understand exactly what it is. I know it's a general read, but I almost feel like for some people, like there's a change in family members, like somebody's not there anymore, or there's a change in like how they make a living. Something is very different here. And it's almost like this is the Death card that's creating the World moment. This is like the smaller change creating the bigger change. That's kind of like they're both very significant, but I feel like the Death card's showing up in the other person's realm, and there's like, for something is definitely changing and changing their perception of the world, and is also getting them to disconnect from you at the same time. They seem to be walking away and just kind of like not connecting with you at all anymore. Even if you're even if you're within a few feet of each other, they're not really talking to you, is what I'm getting. They're not mad at you, and you know that that's not. They're just seeming to be in their own world, and they're upset about something. They're not talking to you about it. They don't want to. You seem to be okay with that. You got the Page of Cups with the Empress. Empress is extremely smart, but it's very caring as well. The Empress card is very caring. And I'm getting like, the reason you're not saying anything is because you know that's for the best. Like, when you bring forth how you feel or what you're seeing, it never works for this person. It just never works. That's your Empress energy, kind of like, I don't want to make this any worse on them than it already is. We don't get along that great, but I'm not looking to, like, throw salt in a wound or anything, and I'm not even sure what the wound, maybe you do know what the wound is, maybe you don't. But you're like, I'm not going to be that one to create more chaos for this person because they never see it the way I see it. If I try to tell them or try to give them advice to make things better, it will double back and make a bad situation. They just do not understand me. They just don't. So you're kind of like, I'm holding back. I'm just going to stay back. You stay kind of close. Like, if you can do little things that are just not, if you don't have to explain anything and they just like, they need a ride somewhere or something like that where you can just like literally do what they need and just step away from them, you will do that is what I'm getting. But you're not into like, this isn't the person you can talk things out with because it's just not going to work, and you know that. For some of you, the forgiveness card is popping up here. There's nothing for you to feel bad about at this point. You're doing what's best, but I also feel like some of you are you feel bad for this person and you wish you could do more. You are empathetic. Empathetic? I think that's the right. Empathetic, yeah. I do feel like you want to help this person. Even though you have animosities, you don't wish, whatever's a pain for them, whatever's hurting them, you're not enjoying that at all. And you're kind of wishing you could take some of that stress off them, you just can't. That's why I feel like you would, like, if they need you to take them somewhere or something like that, or pick them up something at the store, cool, I'll do that, I'll get exactly what you want, I'll do exactly what you need, and then I'll step away and leave you alone. That's the best you can do at this point. It ends really good, so I'm like wondering what we're going into because I didn't realize it was going to get like this, but here we go. Queen of Swords crossing the Page of Coins. Less is more. They are going to start a conversation with you about what they're dealing with and what changes are coming on because of it. Your connection with this person is definitely changing. Definitely changing. There's a whole new way of life coming in. I don't know if they're completely leaving. We haven't got that part far yet. But I'm getting they're coming forward with a conversation towards you about this situation. The Page of Coins behind it here, it's really making me feel like you are understanding the rules of this conversation, not because you have to, but again, because you're like, they've got enough going on. They don't get it. Like, they never see it your way. They just never do. So you're just smiling, and it's like a lot of it's smiling and nodding is what I'm getting. If you hear something and you think it's a good idea that they're saying, I feel like you might be saying comments like, try that, give that a shot, see where that goes. Like, you're not telling people, yeah, I think that's exactly what you should do. You're saying that sounds like it sounds like you could have a good chance with that. So give it a roll, give it a chance, see if it works. That's probably as far as you're going with this conversation because it's kind of like the rules of this engagement. You're just like, it's not working. They seem to be moving. Their energy seems to be really walking away or detaching, or it's lessening from your energy dramatically. They're going where they feel they need to go. I feel like you just supported what they said they wanted to do, and you're like, yeah, give that a try. Yeah, try that. See if that works for you. You're not really digging in and trying to figure out or trying to give them better ideas because you're like, that never works. You have a history with this person. You're like, that never works with them. I may have better ideas. I may be able to show them better things, but if they're not open to it or if it just causes them to get upset, I'm not going to do that right now. So they go off on their own. They're happy. They're good. They go off and do what they want to do. Their energy is really, I'm noticing it's almost like letting the air out of a balloon, or like when you pour water out of a bucket and the weight lifts off of it. It's kind of like that feel. They're going where they need to go. When that energy leaves, I almost feel like almost immediately, immediate could be within 2 to 3 months. So immediately is fairly quick because I know there's something with the time thing there. Somebody else comes in. I feel like it's an energy that actually does match with you fairly good. Be aware of the gossip card, though. Somebody who's very giving to you, that does match you very well, yet they may not have control of the way they communicate. Gossip can be Like gossip, when people hear the word gossip, they have certain things they think of. The thing is with gossip, it keeps information going. The thing is to take gossip and bring it back down to reality and like, all right, people are saying this, people are saying that, but what is actually here? What's the actual truth? This person who's coming towards you that's replacing this last one, you do get along with a lot better. Just be aware that they're not, their thoughts are not completely developed and their information is not completely solid. Because I'm not feeling like a negative, trying to create trouble gossip energy. I feel like it's kind of like almost the thoughtless energy of kind of, I heard this, did you hear that? Well, what did you hear? Well, tell me what you hear. Oh, well, I heard this. And it's not thinking out like this other person here has not realized that like when you're just thinking things out, if you're not careful, people take questions as facts. Like, did Susie cheat on her husband? I don't know why we're going there with that. Somebody else takes that somewhere else. Susie cheated on her husband. Somebody else takes that. Oh my God, can you believe Susie did that? Somebody else takes that somewhere else. Well, I heard it was the other way around. And all of a sudden, meanwhile, the whole thing that was going on was Susie took her kids to choir practice, was what actually happened. But the question was, that was the question, and it just developed to a crazy place. Now all of a sudden everybody's talking, oh my God, they're cheating on each other. Oh yeah, I hear it's bad. I hear that they've invited a third into their relationship. Oh my God, are you serious? Like, that one question went crazy, and you think I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, that's all it takes sometimes. People lose their minds. Be aware of this person's energy, because they do match yours, but I feel like you have that more under control. You probably have learned the hard way about you have to be careful how you ask questions and where stuff goes. So you might have to help this person yeah, because you got the priest. Oh, you got the priest. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm excited about that. There's a new person taking the place of this last one. You do get along with them greatly. You need to teach them what you've learned. This person can understand you and will absorb what you're telling them. You're going to be a lot happier. Your ideas grow. You seem to have control about what you want to grow here. But also it doubles over for this other person, you're helping them grow. And you're saying, listen, I know you're asking questions and I completely get that. Yet you need to be mindful about how you ask those questions, who you ask them to, and when you ask them. You're giving this person a lot more layers. Like, you need to think about what you're doing and when you're doing it and where that's going. Sure, you're just asking a question, but people create narratives off of stupid little questions sometimes. You got to be careful. You got to think about who you're dealing with. You're teaching somebody, but you're also getting a lot of benefit. You got the star card here. Things are going a lot better for you. Nip that energy in the bud, though. Have those conversations, because this is somebody who's out of control with that energy. And if you don't get it under control, they're going to be very tightly connected to you. If they get pulled into some type of crazy drama, you might be guilty by association, or people might treat you as if you're guilty just because you're associated with this person. You can help this person get it under control. Keep that in mind. Release is coming in with despondence. This person also has a lot of controversy already around them when you meet them. I don't feel like that's bothering you in the beginning, but this is one of those things where you can help this person figure out where this starts from and how to, shut it down, how to kind of get control of it. What questions are you asking? Why? When? Who? Think about it. You got to think about it. Be more careful with your questions. This is good information to have, but you can't just go out there willy-nilly. It's with some people, you ask a question, they turn it into a fact, and it's not really a fact, but they treat it like it is. Be careful. You have to teach this to this person. You can bring this energy down, this despair and despondence. It's release, but I'm feeling despair. It does say release, I know that. Release them from that. You can help them release themselves from that. If you don't help them release themselves from that, you better you want to distance yourself otherwise, because they're going to pull you down with them. I'm just saying. There's a weird energy this energy that you're dealing with, you got to keep talking to them. You got to keep conversations going. Another thing with this new person coming in, they can go from one side where they're too careless with questions to the flat out other side where they're way too like, oh my God, I got to make sure. And they're like getting on people like this. I'm asking a question. I'm not saying this is a fact. No, you need to tell me the answer, and I need to know the truth, and you need to show me the proof and why this is the truth and where you got that from. Who did you get that from, and why do you know that? Like, they might get a little bit fanatical. I know that may seem nuts, but I'm making that dramatic purposely because that's how the energy feels. Like, they might go from one extreme where they're just kind of like, I'll just ask questions when I want to, and who cares, and whatever, and whoever's around is around, blah, 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 blah. To the other side where, oh my God, I got to have the exact answer. Then now I need the proof. I need the backup. I need it right here in front of me. I need you to tell me exactly why you know this. Like, it goes from one to the other. Be careful of this person. They may be a person of extremes. I'm feeling like they are. Person of extremes. You may have to also help them with that and be like, listen, listen. I'm saying you got to be careful how you ask. I'm not saying you have to hold people to the fire and demand that they prove to you why they know what they're saying. Like, be aware of this. This energy has an extreme energy. Like, too much to one side, too much to the other. They need help figuring out how to balance that. So that's another thing for you as the Gemini, to keep that in the back of your head. Like, okay, wait a minute. I got to help them not pull me down, and I do like them, and we do get along, so I got to point this stuff out that they need to be careful with. At the same time, I got to make sure I don't promote a fanatical atmosphere where they just take it too far. This, ironically, I know this seems like a lot of work, but the star card with the priest is telling me this is going to be a great connection, a great friendship, a great... Like, I'm feeling like you could get along with this person very, very, very well. Very, very well. It's just about understanding, where pitfalls could happen. I feel like that's the whole point of this reading. To help you avoid pitfalls, like, to understand, like, this person might be fanatical, to understand that they need help figuring out how to live life a little bit better. And you have information that you can share, and they're going to be responsive to it. They're also responsible for where they take it, obviously. But you don't want this to go crazy because this is a connection that you're going to be locked in with for a long time. So how they ask questions and what they do with that, but also not being fanatical, is what you want to get this person comfortable with. This person is going to, like, add to your life the longer they're in your life. It is somebody that you can trust. It's just understanding, like, their mouth going too much versus, like, their mouth goes too much. Their mouth goes too much. So you're going to be aware of that. So they are trustworthy, but I feel like they're also one of those people that, loose lips sink ships. They just keep going and talking and talking and talking, and before they know it, they've told people things, and they're like, oops, I wasn't supposed to say that. That might be one of these people too. Ironically, I do think they're trustworthy. They start talking and they don't stop talking, and they let things slip that they shouldn't. Be aware of that too. Because you're going to feel like you can trust this person right off the bat. And I do feel like that's correct. But they also have that problem. They keep talking and talking and talking, and kind of like I keep talking and talking and talking, and then they've let something slip that they shouldn't have. You might have to help them understand, like, or give them ways to, like, not do that. Help teach them how you keep that under control, because I feel like you've probably mastered that at this point in your life. Okay, I think we're going to let this go. I think we're good. For some reason, it's really, like, I'm enjoying this energy. That must be why. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.